Hi, I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week. My partner, Kristen Oaks-White, is on assignment, thinking in her garden. The 2018 hurricane season started a week early this year. Subtropical storm Alberto came ashore in Florida and brought rain to some parts of Louisiana. As TWILA's Neil Melanson tells us, while that doesn't necessarily mean an active season, now is the time to prepare.
Subtropical storm Alberto marked an early start to the 2018 hurricane season, which officially began June 1st. The system started in the Gulf in late May before coming ashore in Florida, making its way up north as a depression to Michigan, the first time that state has seen an organized system make it that far. Alberto was mostly a rain event, but it did kill 2 news people in North Carolina. This early start to the season, however, isn't necessarily a sign of things to come, according to extension climatologist Jay Grimes.
A lot of folks take that as an indication of what's coming. Don't let that bother you in and of itself. Over the last handful of seasons, we've seen several years where we had early starts, even a January hurricane just a couple of years ago. What we know is that what happens before June 1 tells us almost nothing about what's going to happen after June 1.
Grimes says as far as what will happen, it's always a coin toss.
It's not about how many, it's about where do they go. And the fact is the science isn't ready to handle that yet. We're never going to see that in our lifetime in a way that's really meaningful. So here's the numbers you need to know, and this is especially true for the southern parishes. There is historically a 50-50 chance of some part of the state being impacted by at least one named storm in every hurricane season.
Of more immediate concern is the abnormally hot summer we're having so far in May and June, which is causing disruption for Louisiana farmers. That, according to Louisiana Ag Commissioner Mike Strain.
You know, we have in Alexandria, for instance, 102 degrees on Saturday, 103 degrees on Sunday. Across the state, as we get to the end of this week, you're seeing record temperatures, 97, 98, 101, up to 103. And so right now, for the majority of our crops, we have them in the ground. We have over 92%, of our corn and our beans, 100% of our rice planted. But with that very hot weather, we're watching to see what the growth is going to be. The very hot weather, very dry weather will slow down the growth. So we have good emergence so far.
Grimes says the central and northern parts of the state are of concern, not because of the forecast, but because they're already entering the summer with a moisture deficit.
In the central and northern part of the state, I'm a little bit worried. I'm not concerned yet, but when we start out the spring and early summer dry, it often takes the whole summer, and maybe they don't get the relief that they're looking for. A lot of folks don't realize that rainfall in the northern half of the state during the summer months is about half of what we get in the southern part of the state. So when they start off going into the summer on the dry side, that's often not good news.
And while a tropical system could bring much needed rainfall to some parts of the state, it's something everyone agrees we'd be better off without this year. For This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, I'm Neil Melanson.
If you remember, last year we caught 3 storms in Louisiana with Hurricanes Harvey, Irma, and Nate, all bringing at least some weather here. The hurricane season usually peaks in August and September, so we still have a long way to go. To find out more about how to prepare for hurricane season, visit our website at twilatv.org. This week, we begin a 3-part series profiling the finalists for the 2018 Louisiana Farm Bureau Young Farmers and Ranchers Achievement Award. The winner will be announced during the 96th annual meeting of the Louisiana Farm Bureau in New Orleans. We're kicking off our series in East Carroll Parish at the farm of Matt Dennis. Matt is a 3rd-generation farmer working alongside his father, farming around 6,000 acres of soybeans. Matt says that his success can be traced back to the work ethic he learned from his father and the way they have embraced the new technology available to farmers today.
Matt Dennis is in full swing planting his 2018 soybean crop. And at 25, Matt is right at home in the cab of his tractor. He loves that the farming industry is constantly changing with new challenges every day.
You're constantly changing, and so you never really get bored of it. It's always something new, and different skills you can learn.
He's been learning these new skills since he was a child growing up right here on this farm. Matt's father, David, says that he has been a great partner to have.
Oh, I couldn't farm without him. He made me prouder than anything ever in my life. I'm impressed every day with what he does and can do. He just took to it. He's always liked it since he was a little boy.
Probably 13 to 14, I was in charge of setting hippers, and neighboring farmers started calling me, asking my opinions on certain pans, scallop pans, regular pans, what type of bearings, how to get the bearings out. And so I started learning more and more about it, so I could have that responsibility.
That early responsibility set Matt on a trajectory towards success, but it also planted in him the lifelong desire to farm, and he would stop at nothing to make that dream a reality.
We were just talking, and he just put his sandwich down and said, "You know, all those people talk about how hard you work." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, they're going to be talking about how much harder I work than you." I said, "Well, good luck with that." And he's done it.
So I started doing it more and learning more, really paying attention and studying a lot, doing a lot of research. I just really took off of that. There's a lot of technology available to us.
One of the biggest changes that Matt has implemented here at the farm is leveling every field and putting it on a grid for more efficiency using GPS technology.
I couldn't do that. It was just technology lost me. I just couldn't do it. But he took right to it.
Making 2 AB lines, one north and south, one east and west, where anybody can come. We have some South African foreign workers who don't know this place. So instead of giving them a map, trying to explain field numbers and all that, tell them, hey, east and west, go. And they don't change the AB line for a week.
And that simplified the whole thing, because it was constantly somebody getting in the wrong field number or whatever. It smoothed it out a lot.
Matt also made improvements to the irrigation and drainage here on the farm. These were big changes that his employees were not too sure about.
They thought I spent too much money. I bought ditchers, GPS equipment, the newest technologies. The ditches was the best thing we ever did. They didn't really want to do that, but it's important to get the water on the field, but it's more important to get the water off the field.
It's done what he said he was going to do, and that's very impressive.
We butt heads a lot. We have different views on a lot of things, but at the end of the day, we both give a little and help each other out. He's taught me a whole lot.
Whether he meant to or not, one thing that David passed down to Matt was a love that all farmers have planted deep within them.
It's just nice putting a seed in the ground and just growing a humongous, beautiful plant off of that, coming through, cutting it, and making some money, hopefully.
The winner of the 2018 Young Farmers and Ranchers Achievement Award will receive a $35,000 credit toward the purchase of a new vehicle of their choice. Next week, we will go back to Northeast Louisiana to Madison Parish, where we will introduce you to our second finalist, Jacob Ezel. There are 27 craft breweries in the state that are members of the Louisiana Craft Brewers Guild. That may seem like a lot, but Louisiana is just now catching up with the rest of the country when it comes to drinking craft beer. I'm going to take you over to the largest brewery in Baton Rouge, Tin Roof, where we can see the connections to the farm from the first sip to the final gulp. This is what you want to see when you watch a story about beer, the beer. And Tin Roof Brewing in Baton Rouge has a lot of beer to sample. On this day, there are 10 brews on tap and more in cans. Tin Roof President and CEO Jacob Talley happily pours a glass of his favorite, the Voodoo American Pale Ale. Founded in 2010 and with distribution from Houston, Texas to Mobile, Alabama, Tin Roof is not like some bigger breweries.
To stay big and to also stay nimble is not always very easy, but that's what we have to do, so that's what we will do.
Talley says one part of staying nimble is to keep true to how Tin Roof started, as a couple of home brewers wanting to share their creations.
Being a home brewer, you always try to come up with the wackiest, the craziest beers that you can get people to turn their heads and pay attention to. It all starts with, it all started for me at least, by going out to these local festivals and putting a beer out there that you think would turn some heads, and getting that reaction from folks is something that is very enjoyable for me.
With roots in home brewing.
So this is just our base 2-row malt, which is in just about every beer that we brew.
Tin Roof stays true to the agricultural roots of beer making.
All of our malted barley, our wheat, all of our fermentable grains, and then hops, also an agricultural product, is kind of like our spice of the beer, and aroma and flavor that everybody's looking for these days.
So when those agricultural products are all used up, they go back to agriculture.
Our spent grain from our brewing process, we load in these totes. We call a local farmer here in town, put them out on the dock, he comes and picks them up, and it's feed for his cattle.
The glass reads Go Local. It's what Tin Roof does by giving its spent grain to a local rancher, but it's also what can set apart Tin Roof's flavor by sourcing local ingredients.
This past winter we did our coffee porter like we do every year, parade ground coffee porter, and we partnered with a local roaster here in Baton Rouge, Garden District Coffees, and they did a special Italian espresso blend for us that was roasted and in our beer within a matter of hours sometimes, which was fantastic. And the difference is phenomenal whenever you're using a super fresh product like a roasted coffee bean rather than either an extract or something you buy online and wait for it to ship to you. Whenever you can just go pick it up down the street, 600 pounds of coffee beans, and go put them in your beer, that makes a big difference.
For the record, I did try all of the draft beers you saw poured out there. While I didn't like all of them because I'm not a big fan of IPAs, I am very partial to the Parade Ground Porter made with locally roasted coffee. It is really, really good. Tin Roof recently hosted its inaugural Funk Festival and had a great turnout. Tally says the team is planning other musical events at the brewery. As for the beer, Tin Roof is working on a couple of sour beers to release later this year. Those are kind of on the edge for beer drinkers. To learn more about Tin Roof Brewing, visit our website at twilatv.org. Louisiana and Texas are known for agriculture. They're also known for distinctive cuisines. As Twila's Tammy Arnder found out, a member of the Duck Dynasty family has left his North Louisiana roots and put down new ones in the cattle ranch-rich Texas Hill Country.
Hey guys, I have traveled to Dripping Springs, Texas, where guess what? There is a huge Louisiana connection. Jessica and Jeff Robertson have opened up Southern Roots Food Trailer here in Dripping Springs, and they still focus on locally sourced ingredients, and they love getting their crawfish and their shrimp from the Louisiana Gulf Coast.
Oh, we're making some super legit things for thing tonight.
It's early afternoon in Dripping Springs, Texas.
Okay, menu tonight.
Jeff Robertson is finalizing his menu.
Bring a little taste of Monroe and Louisiana to Austin, so it's worked out good so far.
Jeff is the youngest of the Robertson boys who found fame on A&E's Duck Dynasty. He and his wife Jessica and their 5 kids uprooted themselves from West Monroe and put down new roots just west of Austin.
And just fell in love with like hill country. Like it is one of the most beautiful places, especially out here, like Dripping, beautiful. So my kids love it. It was an easy move.
Jeff's Southern Roots is tucked neatly behind the family brewing business, a brewery opened by Eunice, Louisiana native Danielle Ackles and her husband. The couple had been visiting friends in this area for more than a decade. So when Duck Dynasty and their spinoff, Growing the Dynasty, ended, it was time for something new.
I really think like once we took that leap of faith, it was really like a sound answer that we knew this was where we were supposed to be.
Jeff says it's been a dream of his to own a food truck.
5 years old and there rolling out biscuits with my grandmother, so I'd like to say I've been cooking pretty much my whole life.
No formal culinary training, but definitely some hereditary hands-on experience from Miss Kay and Phil. Jeff's Southern Roots is a remodeled Airstream. It features a lot of Cajun and Creole dishes, but when in Texas.
So we smoked these chickens for like, 5 hours, and we are gonna make a barbecue chicken quesadilla.
For fans of Duck Dynasty like Jeff Clark, a native of Michigan, he's looking for something that screams Louisiana. He chooses the shrimp etouffee.
Awesome.
Was it?
Oh man, it was perfect.
We have a live band, so come get some good Cajun food.
Jessica handles the social media. Jeff handles the menu. Teamwork that makes the dream work in Dripping Springs.
I want to encourage our kids and everybody else to follow your dreams and, you know, take those leaps of faith and really have that confidence that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Thanks, Tammy. Still to come on Twila, Ag Magic in New Orleans. But first, bringing back grasslands 1 acre at a time. Stay with us. The Grazing Lands Conservation Initiative is hoping to help both cattlemen and the environment. Louisiana cattlemen got a chance to see how to do that on a recent bus tour here in Louisiana and in Mississippi. Twila's Taylor Fry shows us how smart grazing can mean big bucks.
Clear skies, an open road, and a bus full of travelers ready to learn about grazing lands in Louisiana.
GLCI is all about sharing what we know and sharing knowledge of our resources.
That's David Daigle, Chairman President of the Louisiana Grazing Lands Coalition Initiative.
These are typical tree farms on both sides of the road.
LGLCI is a group of farmers and ranchers from across the state with a mission to maintain and improve the management of health of Louisiana grazing lands, which is why they're hosting this tour. For 3 days, travelers visited 5 cattle farms in Louisiana and 1 in Mississippi.
Hi, I'm Cooper Hurst. I'm a farmer in Woodville, Mississippi.
Cooper and his wife Katie own Hunt Hill Cattle Company, an Angus-based cow-calf operation.
Regenerative ag is in essence what it is. You know, we are building our soils and building the resiliency and improving our water infiltration.
At this stop, Cooper explained their top 3 focuses are stockmanship, high-density grazing, and soil health.
We can't make it rain, but we certainly can control how much runs off and how much is absorbed by the ground.
He's not the only farmer who practices regenerative ag. In fact, every stop on this tour was a regenerative farm, including Cliff Vining's farm in Pioneer.
The human species is one of the few species that does not learn from mistakes made by past generations.
Cliff says by spreading the knowledge of how the ecosystem works for the farmer, he hopes he can save some people from making the same mistakes he did.
Pay attention to what you see on your environmental issues and look at things and see why they that way and how come they that way.
Which is why the LGLCI hosts trips and events like this one to not only inform veteran grazers, but also upcoming grazers like Macaulay White from Baton Rouge.
Made me realize that there's no such thing as a shortcut to healthy soil and no shortcut to healthy cows.
Daigle says farm tours like these allow farmers to glean information from one another.
I think this was the best conservation trip, seriously, very seriously, I've ever been on. And the reason is that there was so much focus on so much integrated management. Different types of products, different types of thoughts about grassland maintenance, about soil health, about ecology, about water quality, about the environment we live in.
And while many of these travelers' final destination was home, Cooper says when you're in farming, don't ever expect to arrive.
Don't think you're going to ever have it all figured out, and don't think you're going to ever quit learning, because I can promise you this. You're either moving forward or you're backing up.
In Baton Rouge, this is Taylor Fry for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture.
To find out how to become a part of the GLCI or for more information about their programs, you can log on to our website at twilatv.org. With the special session coming to a close soon, and hopefully not another one to follow, Louisiana 4-H members from across the state converged at the state capitol this week to remind their lawmakers of the importance of 4-H. Brittany Lee, Louisiana 4-H president, says the funding they receive from the state is vital for the program to continue to benefit young people of future generations.
You know, we have a lot of support at the state capitol, and we just want to make sure that we continue to have that support. We actually have the governor and first lady come down and meet us at the governor's mansion last night, so it's just very important for us to show them how appreciative we are that they support the 4-H program and that we would love for their continued support.
Louisiana 4-H serves nearly 200,000 youth and provides opportunities in many areas from animal agriculture to horses to food and shooting sports. Children in New Orleans are getting a taste of Ag Magic. A new interactive journey called Ag Magic on the River is there just in time for summer. Twila's Craig Gautreaux went out to the farm in Chalmette to follow the fun.
Just downriver from the central business district of New Orleans lies Dogville Farm. Located in neighboring St. Bernard Parish, the farm is a cornerstone of the Miro Foundation's mission to teach young people the importance of agriculture.
We just want to educate people on the opportunities in St. Bernard and a good understanding of where their food and products from Louisiana come from.
This is the 5th year for Ag Magic on the River at Dockville. The event plays an integral role in the LSU Ag Center's 4-H youth program by exposing young people to agriculture and what 4-H has to offer. And the exhibits continue to grow based on issues relevant to Louisiana.
We did add a greenhouse this year, and the greenhouse is teaching kids about coastal plants and coastal restoration, which is really important in Southeast Louisiana.
The students were able to hold and see many of the items in the exhibits, which heightened the educational experience.
I like that they had lots of different types, and they had one of my favorite insects. Which is? A wasp. I just get to see new things, learn more things, and get to experience fun and new things.
While it was a day spent outside the classroom, the students still learned about topics taught in the classroom.
We're actually teaching in science right now life cycles, so we're doing life cycles of frogs, life cycles of butterflies, which was great. They had pictures, models, and we actually got to see the chrysalis and the eggs and all the other things.
Nearly 4,000 students were expected to tour Ag Magic on the River. With the LSU Ag Center, this is Craig Gautreaux reporting.
Dockville Farm consists of 138 acres just outside of Chalmette, Louisiana. Still to come on TWILA, we'll be back with your weekly TWILA Boost. Stay with us. Before we leave you today, we think you need a little TWILA Boost to finish our show this week. And since Kristen left me all alone, I'm going to have to bring in the more talented TWILA turn, Her Highness herself, Miss Allie Doise, to help with this week's TWILA Boost. And this week, we're bringing you a Royal Cow-themed edition because I'm sure, you know, you love cows, everybody loves cows, and we love royalty, right?
Of course, who doesn't? And in honor of last week's royal wedding festivities, we had to show you this video of Queen Elizabeth, and it may be the best thing that you see all week. During her 90th birthday celebration, hundreds of horses and other livestock were on parade for the Queen at Windsor Castle. But it was the cows that really got her excited. The Queen obviously loves cows just as much as we do, Avery, and everyone else, of course.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like eating them more than anything. That's a pretty tough competition. Upon seeing this video, though, did a little research on the Queen and her love of cows, and I found out something very interesting. Did you know the Queen has the largest herd of Sussex cattle in the world? She keeps that over there at Windsor Castle. And those cows have their own special water pillows they sleep on that are supposed to massage away aches and pains.
It must be nice to be a royal cow, I guess. And our next Cow Boost video is an odd one, but a funny one indeed. So this video, titled How to Talk to Cows, landed on our newsfeed. This young man attempts to serenade a herd of cows with a bottle of Coke and a few sheets of music. But really, the only way we can explain it to you is for you to actually watch the video. Yep, you heard it right. I'm 99% sure those were extreme burps.
Okay, we went from pampered cows and water pillows to burping cows.
Yeah, it's very interesting video. I was literally just scrolling through my newsfeed, and you know how Facebook videos start without you really watching them?
Yeah.
Well, it started, and I just hear this noise, and I was really confused, and then started it from the beginning and realized that he's drinking Coke to prepare these extreme burps, and all the cows come towards him.
Okay. Yeah, I won't be practicing that one. Thank you very much, Allie Doise. That does it for this edition of TWILA. I promise I won't burp the ending. We are on the countdown to New Orleans for the Louisiana Farm Bureau annual meeting coming up in just a couple of weeks. Until next week, you can watch all of our stories online at twilatv.org, and be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. For all of us here at TWILA, thanks for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.